Yo, back. As y'all can see, we already having too much fun over here. But welcome back to a whole nother episode and another new episode in season 2 of Introspective Thoughts. Yeah, we're back. We're bike. Back like 4 flats on a Cadillac, back like the passenger seat, back like retrograde and Mercury. Well, Mercury in retrograde. Yeah, there we go. I had to think about that. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a it
sounded right to me, so I was gonna keep going.
Right, like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all know Mercury being a boosted fade and a retrograde and an Escalade, whatever.
With micro braids.
And a micro braid, like a micro twist, the Senegalese twist, I'm just saying, drinking Gatorade and Powerade, like whatever. Y'all, I'm half asleep doing this. I'm gonna be quite honest with y'all. I'm tired. What the little girl say, I'm tired. I'm motherfucking tired. That's literally what I am. I'm motherfucking tired. And it ain't that I'm doing work. It's just I'm tired. Like nigga need rest. Like doing nothing. This reminds me of an episode of SpongeBob where Patrick said he had on his to-do list was nothing. Like literally, he wrote on his to-do list and said nothing. That is on my to-do list.
Patrick was ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time. And if you just pay attention, you will catch a word. Because there have been so many times that a word has been dropped in SpongeBob and you don't catch it until you go back and rewatch it. Like, and on that, like just that episode alone where Patrick said, I'm doing nothing today, and then scratched off of his to-do list that he did nothing. That word just sat so powerful within me. And so I said on this day, besides this interview, I am doing nothing. And who knew that doing nothing is very exhausting? So that way I can go back and do even more nothing once we get, come on now, you ought to touch your neighbor and tell them sometimes you just got to do nothing in order to get something out of nothing. See, that's a word. Y'all, let me quit. That's a woo child. As y'all, if y'all ain't heard, if y'all ain't seen yet, Lady D is back. I told y'all she was coming back once more. So she's back again to grace these airwaves and grace this platform with her unyielding knowledge, whether that be in esotericism, whether it be in occult things, whether it's in public health, whether it's in Black women's studies, whether it's in Black shit in general. She had to come back one more time and give us a good blessed word for us. And before we even got up on here, y'all, when I tell you, I don't even know where this conversation is going to go. We just going to randomize it. Whatever happens, happens. But we didn't got to talking about public health shit. We didn't got to talking about how the DC don't got a Waffle House, how LA ain't got a cookout. They ain't got nothing. I mean, like, we literally went all over the world and back again. But that's what we do on a regular day. Like, it is what it is. So welcome back once again, Lady D, to the program. What's good, love? How you be?
I've been like you. I've been resting. We were just talking about I got all this stuff to do because I head back to LA in a couple days, and I need to ship all this stuff. I don't know how I'm about to do all this in a couple days with my, with the coins. Like, yeah, but God gonna make a way. Sister's gonna make a way. I ain't about to worry. But yeah, it's just been. I've been like you. I fell asleep last night watching Ghost Brothers. If y'all don't know what that is, it's a ghost, like a Ghost Adventures, but with Black people. And like, listen, they behave very typical Black people. Like very like the show. Every episode starts with them in a barbershop because one of the Ghost Brothers, really ghost niggas, y'all. I love it. Ghost Brothers. Like it's a barber, and so they start every episode in a barbershop. They be going to these places, and when they talk to the ghosts, they be like, "Hey, auntie, Dang.
So this
They
is
was
some
like, which
nigga
one you like?
paranormal activity type shit. This is what you telling me?
It is, and I love it because it resonates so much with me and my cousin. We love watching stuff like that, and so we was like, we gonna make one called Ghost Cousins. But we're gonna start with like we gonna go to like the hoods and the HBCUs and the colleges because those really the creepiest places, bro. Like if you ever been to like, I mean, just if you think about UT, right? Certain places in UT, you won't catch me in certain
Oh,
buildings.
definitely.
After
Like, oh no, especially after certain hours in the night and even certain times in the day. It's just some places on UT campus. I'm just like, my soul says no. It says hell no to that. Can't do that.
so like I'm just like, oh my god, like look at Black. And so even the theme in the beginning, and it was like, no, the white guy like, and they're here to ask the question, and it's like cuss to them, why is still no black people doing this? And then during the episodes you hear them like, see, this is why black people don't do this. Like it's so funny, and like the spirits react to them so much because they really come in like not to agitate them. They just want to know, is there really something here? And like the women spirits, and they most 9 times out of 10 they're white. The women spirits be like really responding to them. They be like, oh, who you like? You like Daylin, you like Marcus, you like Jawan. Very, very black ass names, right? You like Jawan.
I was sure
And
about to be
like,
like, wait a minute, these are some real ass nigga names. Like, this ain't no, this is some nigga shit.
yes,
What channel this come on?
the name should be ghost niggas. Like it's
Right.
like, and every time, they can't say that word, so they be like, "Hey brother, hey." I was like, y'all really want me to say, "Hey nigga, look," like. And that's what I love. It's just the real black reactions. And when one of them say something dumb, one of the other ones will look in the camera like, do you hear this fool? Like, it's so funny. And I enjoy it because it incorporates my weirdness and love for like being a medium and like spirits or whatever. And like black ass people. Cause I'm like, this is peak black people dealing with spirits. And I love it.
Yeah, nah. What channel that come on? Or whose streaming service that on? Because I might need to watch that.
I was watching on Amazon Prime with the free
Nope,
trial.
that's out of my budget range. I ain't
Yeah,
got.
it comes on cable. That's the thing. I don't
Oh,
know
that's
how
really
I
out of my
found it,
budget range.
but a couple of episodes are on YouTube through Destination America or something. That's how I found them. I don't know how I found them. I was supposed to be at work, working, and I found Ghost Brothers. A couple of them on YouTube and Daily Motion. The other episodes on Daily Motion, because people love being on Daily Motion, putting stuff up illegally. We thank them.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
how
I
I
don't know nothing
found them.
about Daily Motion. I ain't never heard about them, but I'm sure finna look them up right now. While we sit here right now, because I'm I'm interested in whatever is. Oh, this is definitely some nigga shit. All I did was pull up the damn thumbnail. This is definitely. I mean, come on now. When you see somebody like that, y'all know that's some nigga shit. You know that's some nigga shit. Come on,
So
man.
funny. Cause Marcus got a wife, right? And in the middle of an investigation, it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning. Marcus' wife would call him and be like, "What y'all doing there?" And he was like, "Babe, I'm in the middle of something." She was like, "Don't bring no spirits home. I ain't playing with you, Marcus." And like you hear her on the phone going off. I was like, "This is so black. I love
Yeah,
it."
no. And you know a black woman gonna say, "Don't bring no shit in my house. I'm gonna put you and it
Listen,
out."
you heard her on the phone yelling. And I was just like, y'all, go look at this. They need more support. They was on Destination America, whatever channel that is on cable that, we can't afford because I don't get, baby, all I
But
got is
what I
TV.
just seen, it's on the Travel Channel. So maybe that's
Yeah, so Travel Channel picked them up, and then they only had one Ghost Brothers House Adventures or House Guests on Travel Channel, but they still get house I mean, a house. Ghost Adventures going for like 23 seasons. I was like, y'all need to put more effort behind this because this is gold. Black people will watch stuff with them on it being acting a fool because that's all they doing.
Right. And even going back what you said, with like folks ask the question, like, you know, why is not enough Black folk doing it? I really have gotten to a point, I don't want to necessarily say I despise that question, but that question has always bothered me. Like, why ain't no niggas doing it? I mean, well, there's two answers, like off rip, why ain't no niggas doing it. Either A, because of slavery or white supremacy, or B, because slavery and or white supremacy and Black folks don't ever see themselves in doing this shit, so they don't think that, oh, I would do this, like bungee jumping or like skydiving. Until you see a Black person get their ass up, strap a backpack and a parachute on their back, you know, and jump out of a plane, you ain't gonna want to do it neither. Until you see a Black person strap a rubber band around their ankles and jump off a bridge, you probably still ain't gonna want to do it, because then your mom in the back of your head talking about some, so if they jump off the bridge, you gonna do it too? Now, how did I know that the same conversation was gonna come up right here, right now? And I sat there and told you no, so I think I'm gonna stick with that, and I'm gonna be like, nah, I ain't gonna do it neither. But I really feel like if we get, you know, support behind this stuff, like it's been a lot of stuff where we said, you know, why aren't there Black people doing it? Like in certain forms of entertainment, we've said that. In certain forms of religion, we've said that. In certain forms of science, we said that. In certain forms of shit, anything, we've said, why is it there Black people doing stuff?
A lot of us be pushed out too.
Okay. If we're gonna keep it a $1.50, like it's like there's not always been a space for us, and even when there has been a space, there's always somebody more likely that's gonna come back and be like, no, you can't have this space because of this. Guess what, white people? You might want to get the fuck ready, because we coming and taking over all sports next. We coming for hockey next. We coming for cricket after that.
Listen, and then in my response, like when people don't ghost, why Black people don't ghost hunt? Because a lot of us are automatic, like we do things, we ghost hunt on another perspective. Being a medium, it's not ghost hunting, but they pop up and you be like, hey, what's up?
Right, a lot of niggas don't want to do no ghost hunting shit because we see enough of it on a regular basis. Like, you think I want to go walk into
your grandma popping in your dreams? There's ancestor veneration, catching the Holy Ghost. Like, listen, we deal with spirits all the time and don't know it, Black folk. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, I really don't like
on TV doing it. That don't mean we're not doing it.
Right. And I don't get how, well, actually, I'm lying. I do get it, because again, patriarchy, supremacy, Christianity, all that great stuff, right? You know, I get why Black people don't want to go into these certain fields and stuff like this, but it's like, y'all do realize that shit comes natural to us, right? Like the movie, what is the movie that just came out? Soul, the Disney Pixar movie that just came out. Like, a lot of people, and I think you had mentioned something about it too on Twitter, where there's a lot of spiritual aspects to it. There's a lot of, different cultural aspects that we would literally get immediately, but we don't get it because we either A, never seen ourselves in it, or B, we've been told that those practices are demonic, they're devil worship, they're all these different things, right? Like, even I think back to the Black Panther, where they went to the ancestral realm, like where literally T'Challa went to the ancestral realm and talked to his daddy and talked to the rest of his ancestors who were the Black Panther prior to him. Like, we do that. Like, that's literally what anytime that we have some kind of a ceremony, right? We have, like, biggest one that just popped in my head, New Year's Eve, right? So the day that we're recording this, y'all, is New Year's Eve. Well, the day before New Year's Eve. And what popped in my head was the whole, prosperity ritual. Black people always eat their greens, black eyed peas, and cornbread on New Year's as a prosperity ritual to set you up for the new year, right? But also with that, you know, like let's take it to the church side. The watch night services that many people may or may not be going to this year, or they'll be, you know, live streaming them because of the panorama. You know, watch night literally has historical as well as a spiritual significance. Like the historical significance is January 1, 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect, and that's when slavery ended. But there also is a ancestral veneration piece, or ancestral or a spiritual piece to that, because you also had to celebrate everybody that came before you that did not make it to Emancipation Day. And so when we have all of these different things, we have all these different rituals, and we have all these different things that we may not know why we do it. Like, you know, some black folk tell you don't wear no shoes in the house because you tracking in bad spirits, you know, or they say put salt at your door to keep the negative energies out, or light an incense because it will shift the energy in your house, or sing these type of songs or these types of incantations, or whatever. All of that has a spiritual meaning to it, but because we've been pushed out of it, or because people say niggas don't do that type of shit, you a goddamn lie. We've been doing this shit, nigga. We was one that started this shit, and we have too much history.
Yeah.
You have $1,000 computer. This is what I used to tell my seniors all the time. They used to ask me, Mr. Clark, well, what about this? If you don't ask Siri, damn it, what this shit is, ask Google, ask Jeeves. Y'all don't know nothing about Jeeves. We had to ask Jeeves.
They don't know nothing about Jeeves.
But if you don't ask one of them motherfuckers on that $1,000 computer that you literally will not put down so I can teach you some shit about the government, like, y'all, we've been doing this stuff, but people do not recognize that this literally stuff is like, I really wish there would be a lot more black people that go into necromancy. Like, anybody that's a mortician, a black person that's a mortician, you know that you're a necromancer. I really wish y'all would go more into it. Like, somebody even posted on Twitter, was like, would you work a graveyard shift in a graveyard? You damn right I would. I'm trying to get the tea on everybody in this damn graveyard. I'm about to make friends with the spirits, because that's what we do.
Two things. The first thing with the Soul movie, people were saying, parents were saying, I'm not gonna let my kids watch this. This is too deep for them. They're not gonna get it. Well, of course, a 3-year-old is not gonna get it, but if they're in elementary, they're gonna sit there and watch it. It's very important for them to know at a young age that they don't have their purpose does not have to be tied to their job. Purpose may not even be tied to their passion. Maybe that one interaction with that one person that you had 20 years ago was your purpose, and you stopped them from committing suicide. Maybe it was your purpose. Everybody's purpose is not great. That's why I want to encourage people to lead. Like, don't be mad when people are not as ambitious as you. Maybe that's not their purpose. Let people be regular, maybe that is their greatness. Second, and like some people like, you know, this too deep. This is not what I teach my kids on the spiritual level. I'm just like, whatever. And then people were mad because I think Tina Fey voiced the Soul 22. First of all, that's a master number. I say y'all didn't even peep.
Y'all better catch it. Catch these codes. They there. Catch them.
And so they was like, a black man, of course, saved a white woman. I was like, this is about souls. This is about souls. Y'all are so. I said, wow, really, white imperialism and terrorism really get y'all thinking only in black and white. When is there so much more to this? I say it's literally about soul, because it had jazz in it, which is original soul music to black people. And then you have the soul aspect of the purpose. And y'all just said, oh, it sounds like a white person. I said, what if when she get to Earth, she wasn't even white? It's talking about souls. Like, the only souls you can tell, like Master Twin Tush, they didn't have like even a shape. The souls that he was mentoring didn't even have a shape, because they hadn't been to Earth yet. He was trying to help her get to Earth, right? The other souls that were going into that light or the afterlife had shapes and languages, because they had already been on Earth. And I'm just like, y'all, did y'all miss the whole big picture? Like, y'all missed the picture because y'all are so concerned about other BS. Like, that's Tina Fey was probably just like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, are you gonna be mad that it was probably Asians in it too? That it was probably there was probably Hispanics and other like people. Like, y'all have to like get out your ass. Second of all, speaking about graveyards and everything, I don't know if people know about Elmwood Cemetery. It's the historical cemetery in Memphis. That's in South Memphis. And my family brought it up because they were trying to figure out some location. They was like, "That's a cemetery there, right?" I said, "Y'all talking about Elmwood, baby." My Clue class, I think it was maybe in third grade. They took us to that cemetery because we were learning about the history of this, baby. At that young age, I was like, I want to get out of here. Because Elmwood Cemetery like houses all the people who died from yellow fever, Spanish flu. It has like babies who were maybe a couple hours, years old from being born and died because of like what was going on in Memphis at the time. But for some reason, the cemetery is still extended, and they got current veterans there and everything. It's just a super historical place, and that's probably the only cemetery I would not go to on a consistent basis. And then they was like, "Yeah, we have plots where we think maybe slaves here, but we don't want to disturb them." I was just like, y'all tripping. At a young age, they traumatized me. I was like, how? By the time we got to the 1940s plots of like World War II people that they couldn't identify, but they sent the bodies to Memphis. I was just like, this is a lot for less, okay? And it's sitting right here, like in South Memphis. I was like, this probably the one cemetery I'd be like, listen, y'all doing a lot for less. If I was to be there at night, it just be random niggas fighting. I feel like experience. I don't get time. Like, it's just I did. I was like, first of all, how did we even get to this? And then they start telling stories and had my papa, all his shortcuts he knew throughout Memphis, he always had to pass by a cemetery. I was like, "Oh, I am really my grandfather's child," because I don't know, like literally, it's wild. I just have to tell that story. Like,
No.
if y'all ever in Memphis, go to Elmwood Cemetery and be amazed at how much history is there.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because a lot of people don't realize, like, well, me and you know this, right? And we know the spiritual significance of Memphis, and we know the historical spiritual significance of Memphis, right? With Memphis being originally a slave port, that's where cotton was king. I mean, there's still cotton fields in and around Shelby County right now, in the big age of 2021. But a lot of people don't recognize that because those spirits are still there, it can have an effect on you, at any given time, especially if you are you're at their house essentially, right? And so if you are a child, like I get where people saying, I'm not going to show my child this because it's too deep for them, but it's like you fear what you don't understand, right? And because we live in a society where we're all talking about you only live once, so you need to make this life count, instead of looking at it as death is not an end all be all, it's just a transition from this state where you are now to the next. And it's even something I had a dream about, or either I had a dream about it or it was like a channel message where it was like, death is not even real per se. Nothing in this existence is real if we're gonna keep it above 50. But death itself is not real. Like, because the thing is, when you die, you don't know that you dead. Because think about it. When you dreaming, are you aware of anything that's going on around you? Like in the physical world, like if you land in your bed, you knocked out. I mean, like you in a kush coma, knocked out. You done took some melatonin. You done drank some chamomile tea. You out. It's cold. The heat is on. You wrapped up in a good blanket. You don't know nobody. You don't see nothing. You don't hear. When you in the dream state, only thing you're aware of is what's going on up here in the dream state. You're not aware like of anything that's going on around you. But they also say that sleep is the cousin of death. technically every night we all die and we come back. We just don't stay separate from this body when the sun comes up in the morning, or when our alarm clock goes off, or when we are just jolted out of, sleep. But because we live in a society that says that death is the end all be all and not a transition, people get afraid of death, and they feel like that they have to chase the bag and they have to get everything in this life because they only live once. And the thing is, that's not necessarily true, because when you think about spirits, and we talking about this movie Soul, right? And we think about Memphis and how, on any given day, you could feel the shift anywhere in Memphis. Like North Memphis got a different vibe than South Memphis got a different vibe than Whitehaven got a different vibe than East Memphis got a different vibe than downtown. And 9 times out of 10, yeah, of course, it's got something to do with the people that's in that area, but it also has a lot to do with the dead people that's in that area too. And a lot of people don't understand that, but because we fear death and we say we're not going to show our kids this, instead of them understanding or teaching them that you ain't far from where they were. Like, let's understand that, right? Like, you are 7 years on this planet, but you've probably been here before. Like, my sister said this about my nephew. My friends have said this about their kids, where they're like, my child has been here before. And I'm like, I'm glad you recognize that, because yeah, like your child probably knows a lot more than you do too. But because, we force our fear on them, and we force our ideas on them, and we let them know that, death is the end all be all. Like, it's not. Like, but when you teach them that, and you teach them differently, and you understand the historical and the spiritual significance of the city that you live in, and it's not just Memphis. Hell, I'm in DC, and DC has a huge slave history to it. Has a huge, spiritual significance and history to it. So does New York City. So does Miami. So does Atlanta. So does Chicago. So does Los Angeles. So does all of these different cities in the United States, the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, Asia. All of these different places have these significances to them. But when we teach people to fear that instead of embrace it, you then end up with a child that's in 3rd grade that's afraid, and it's like, why the hell are we in a goddamn cemetery around all these dead bones and decrepit bodies and stuff like that? But if that child knew the spiritual and historical significance behind it, like you just said about being a medium, and as you said this about purpose too, that child can instantly recognize that, oh, this is what I'm here for in this existence, or this is what I'm supposed to be doing here. And so whether that be, be the CEO of somebody's Fortune 500 company, yeah, that may be your thing, but you also may be a necromancer too. You may also be a medium. You may also be somebody that channels, that is a healer, that does these things. But the kids don't know that because you're teaching them out of fear. Like,
absolutely. And I just wish I don't know if it was just like me starting to shut my gifts at that because of the stuff I had experienced when I was even younger than 3rd grade in like my grandmother's house. Because I tell people outside, I don't have nightmares for real. Like, not for real. Like, I still remember nightmares I had at a very young age at the house because of the energy of that house and that land. Like, they done tore that house down and built a new one, and I still go past that house. I'd be like, some is still there, right? And I think also at that point, Elmwood Cemetery, the way they were presenting it, they didn't present it in a way, but it was also white people trying to teach us as well, like a bunch of Black kids. Like, and like if they would have presented it like these, like if in the beginning of this year, right? Also, I wish I would have known, like I would have kept them gifts, because now I'm like, everything is pointing to me being that person, that middle person between the dead and the living, like my life path number, my birth chart. I said, I'm tired. First of all, who said I wanted to do this? Apparently, I agreed before I was on this earth.
Right. So look, right, because let's talk about that too. Once you finish that point, let's talk about what your role is and how you find that shit out. Because I looked at my life path number. I was like, why did y'all tell me from Jump Street I was doing this shit? Damn it. And I'm sitting there looking like, who did it and why? Like, what? More on that later.
But somebody made a good point that those ancestors that did survive yellow fever, that did survive Spanish flu, why in the midst of this pandemic, although this is a totally different and new virus, why aren't we asking our ancestors, how did they survive? 9 times out of 10, they gonna tell you what the medical people are telling you now is wash your hands, keep your house clean, and don't go around nobody who's been sick. Make sure you're eating a balanced diet, which is now what everyone, I mean, like a real more on the plant. And like I tell people, Black people already have more a plant-based diet anyways. It's just like naturally, they're like, soul food is bad. I said, no, soul food is not inherently bad, because if you think about what we eat is actually good. It's just how we have cooked it. We are most likely to fry it versus let it be on the stove or let it bake or let it become a broth first. But that's because look at we, or maybe we overcook it, but that's because they used to give us a spoiled food. So we had to overcook it. And so it didn't have no real nutrients. So it's like if they would have put stuff in a different perspective, like how Soul was trying to do, then maybe like we would have been better off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, even in COVID-19, like me and my spiritual mentor, I made a protection oil earlier this year, but she made one recently. And within her protection oil, it is blessed to keep you also covered during COVID-19. And I was like, that makes sense, because if you x-ray all protection, spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, it's going to have to include, because remember, like our ancestors are learning from us as we learn from them. And so they even are learning how to protect us in the year 2020, 2021. That's what people are not picking up on. That is what people are not picking up on. And I think if they would probably present it, if I was to take my future children, and I think it may be coming in the next 5 years for me, because I hear a child every once in a while. You heard it here, folks. The next 5 years, I have a little boy. You all heard it here. I'm really annoyed.
Now, when we run this back, I don't want to hear nothing. We're going to run this all over. Run this tape back.
I'm really annoyed. But like literally, if I was to take this future little boy into the cemetery, I would do it in a perspective of like, these are all the people. These are the reasons you are here today. These are the reason why your mother has so much knowledge, because they taught me. Every gravestone has a story and a lesson for you to learn from. Even not on an individual, but on a societal basis. And I think this is where we even messed up. This is why people are bringing up old newspapers from the Spanish flu regarding COVID-19, because they were wearing masks too. They were doing the same thing we're doing now. We just ain't learned. And because we are not like teaching in a way and allowing kids to know all this stuff at a young age, people really don't listen to their kids. I be like, listen to your child. They done told your children tell you all the tea and you done missed it.
And they do. In the crazy part, I want to go back to about having conversations with the dead too, right? Because like you said, they're literally telling you how to get over certain things, right? And how to get past certain things. Like I think I've said this on here before, where I was in a situation, last summer, and I was pulling cards like, yo, I am overthinking this. I'm spazzing out. I don't know what to do in this situation. What do I do? And literally in the tarot deck, it said, let it go. And one of my oracle decks, the same card came out twice. And literally it says on the card, let go. And then the second oracle deck that I put out, it literally said releasing things, letting things go. And so it's like, if you have conversations or you are, I was about to say in cahoots, if you have a relationship, there we go, with your ancestors, I mean, you might as well be in cahoots too, because we all plotting and scheming over here. But if you have that relationship with your ancestors or with your guiding spirits or whatnot, you can find out so much. Like, even when I tell, like, I'm not ashamed to tell people, like, I had COVID back when it first started, like December of 2019, like before it got mainstream. Like, literally, it was the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I was out of commission for 3 days. Every single symptom that they have named up until this point, plus or minus things, like, when it first started, I had every drop of it, right? Literally, I was like, I remember laying on the couch and I told my ancestors, I said, first of all, I don't know what the fuck this was that caught me slipping, because I don't get sick, period. Like, I take care of my immune system way too well for me to get sick. I said, I don't know what this is. I said, but y'all got to send me something to get this so we can move this out, because I didn't know what I had from Jump Street, but my ancestors know you can't even sneeze in my direction, and I'm like, it hurts. Like, cause I'm sorry, I'm a weakling. Like, I'm a very strong individual, but like physical pain, I cannot tolerate, period. Like, I literally cannot. That's why, like, we were talking before we recorded, how people talking about getting vaccinated. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck how you feel about vaccines. I'm not getting it because you're not sticking a needle in my body. I don't tolerate needles. That's just, and then I know my mama at some point in time gonna come back and watch these, but because she's always like, but you gonna get tattoos. I said, that's different. Focus, 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 love. We pay attention to stay on topic. I like those needles.
That's on top of the skin. That's
right.
Not in my.
That's an epidermic needle. That's going below the. No, ma'am. We're not doing this. But I asked my ancestors, I was like, but what do I do in this situation? Like, I need something to get this out of my system. And they said, and I literally heard them. They said, well, first and foremost, because it's literally the end of December, winter just started last week. It's cold as a polar bear's balls outside. Wrap your ass up in some clothes, go take you a hot shower, steam it, get it out. Hell, go work.
It's a respiratory illness. You gotta steam it out. You gotta let it go. You gotta get it out your system.
Get it out, and that's the other thing that said, even though you're not sure if you're contagious or what you have, like what you have is something that they flat out told me, you don't need to be around nobody with this. But they was like, if you choose to go work out, go to the track, because I think at the same point in time, it was a random 50-degree day, so it was warm enough for you to go outside. I went outside, and I sweated it out. They was like, okay, now that you've done that, you know how to make tea, go make your tea, put all these different things in there so that way you're good, you keep your fluids up, you keep your body temperature up so you can continue to sweat this out. And then they said, take your ass to this ramen spot. It's 10 minutes from your house. Again, you just know you don't need to be around nobody with this. Sit away from everybody. Go at this time, sit away from everybody, and get you a cruciferous soup. Now, y'all probably like, what the fuck is a cruciferous soup? A cruciferous soup is literally a ramen soup with nothing but straight green vegetables. I mean, broccoli, bok choy, greens, peas, bean sprouts. I mean, everything like green that they gonna put in a ramen soup is in there with broth and noodles. Baby. Of course, I couldn't smell nothing. I couldn't taste nothing. I just knew that motherfucker was hot. When I tell you I picked up this sriracha bottle and was doing this until they said stop. And I mean, literally, I held it just like this for probably a smooth 45 seconds. And I couldn't literally taste anything, but I knew that mug was hot because the moment that I took a sip of it, everything opened up at the same time. I said, yep, that's exactly what I needed. But, all of that to say, like, if you have that relationship with your ancestors, they literally will tell you how to get rid of this stuff. Just like even when people was going to Walmart and they was buying all the bleach and buying all the soap and buying all the hand sanitizer and buying all this. And I'm like,
we know what to do with it.
I'm like, my ancestors been told me to keep this shit in my house because we clean up on every Saturday. What are we doing? Like,
Black culture, baby. Black culture. Somebody was like, oh, you try to clean your house every weekend? Absolutely. When I don't clean, my week is messed up.
And you can feel that. Like, and people don't understand, you can literally, like, when people say that, like when people say I didn't know that I was depressed or I was anxious, I was stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, you do. What's your room look like? A hot ass mess. You are not together mentally. Do you got dishes in your sink? Yup, a hot ass mess. You're not together. Like if your house is not like, I legitimately can feel. And it's even sometimes where I will not go meditate and I will not do my spiritual work until my house is clean. That means if it's garbage that's in the house, if there's even one dish in the sink, if the bathroom is not together, if my bed isn't made, I can't do spiritual work. If the floor ain't been vacuumed in a minute, I cannot do spiritual work because that energy is still in the house. Like you burn incense, burn sage all day long, but if your house ain't clean, it's not gonna work. So when all these people's going and buying all this bleach and stuff, I was so dumbfounded because I'm like, y'all don't keep Clorox wipes in your house. You don't keep Lysol in your house. You don't keep a can of Common in your house. I don't keep bleach in my house personally because I'm allergic to it. Like I literally cannot. My mama has used my mama will spray the whole house in Tilex and be sitting there wondering why we looking at her like she crazy. I literally cannot do bleach anymore because like the first smell of bleach will make my head hurt bad. I can't do bleach, period. But you best believe it's kind of
Tilex ain't no joke.
Tilex ain't gonna get it together. Between that, my mama kept that, a can of Lysol, and some Comet, some Ajax, Pine Sol, Murphy's Oil Soap, Windex, and then my daddy had his own commercial cleaning business, so we was double stocked on half the stuff in the house. So when people was buying stuff, I was so confused why folks was losing their damn mind. I was like, y'all don't clean up y'all house? Like, black folk been knew better. Like, that's why I'm like, black folk ain't, like, not to say that we couldn't catch it, but like when Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates and everybody was wondering why Africans weren't catching it like that, because we clean our house, nigga. Duh.
Like, isn't Africa most? I said it may be like that, but that don't mean they don't wipe their ass. That don't mean that, you know, they don't do all this stuff. And the only reason why Black people, we really start to catch it is because we work in essential services. We work in these like highly popular areas, these janitors, these food workers, these healthcare, whatever. And so that's why we really start to catch it. And so we were always working around y'all. Like, so it's just, I don't, at this point, I just don't, even as outside the spiritual, even as a public health person, I don't get it. I do not get it. I just don't understand it. Like, even on a spiritual sense, like some spiritual people was like, oh, this ain't this, is whatever. And someone brought up the good points. And this is why I say y'all have to respect everything that comes on this earth. I was like, you still have to give that virus respect. Viruses are the human Achilles heel. You can't kill them. They just like dormant or denatured. They're not alive. And so, like, even spiritual sense, even our ancestors was like, I don't know what this is, but we're gonna take caution. That's giving it respect. When you don't respect something, it's gonna come back tenfold. People are like, well, most of us is vaccinated for smallpox and this and that. Why is it coming back? Because people then in their privilege are not vaccinated than kids. Viruses stick to tables. They stick to the mirror. They stick to the door handles that y'all be cleaning. They stick to this. You're not respecting this space. You're not respecting Mother Nature. That's how I know a lot of y'all doing y'all spirituality and y'all religion wrong. That's why y'all be on Twitter and Facebook talking about masturbation is y'all letting in demons. What? How that makes sense, people?
Cause even if you are doing sex work, and I know a lot of y'all are probably confused, like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? But I mean, this is conversation we legitimately will probably have at some point in time in its totality before the end of 2021. But even if you do practice in sex magic, like the way that you let a demon in is if you ain't protected off Jump Street. If you ain't protected or you don't know what the fuck you doing, what do you expect? Like you literally just said, you don't respect respect the area, you don't respect nature, you don't respect the creator, and that's regardless of what you believe in, regardless if you're atheist or theist or whatever. Like, and I'm not saying, you know, and I'm not looking at this from a Christian standpoint. I mean, like the creator, you know, it said again, you know, I'm coming from a Christian standpoint. That's how I grew up, but that's how it makes sense. But I'm gonna put it in context for it to make sense with you. Either it's in the book of John or it's in Genesis. But I really feel like both of them are the same story, but just different words. But it literally, the parable says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Meaning that in the beginning was the Word, as in, what do you hear coming out of my mouth? Words. So that was the creator. In the beginning was the creator. If you do not give respect to the creator and the things that it spoke that came to be, which is all the stuff that you see around you right now, what do you expect when that negativity flips and comes back unto you? Because it says in Luke chapter 6, give forth good measure, press down, shaking together, run it over into your lap. For the measure that you give, you should get it back. That's just like how you said earlier, when you don't pay respect to your ancestors, or you don't pay respect or homage to anything, when you do, dirt comes back unto you, unless that's your truth. If you're somebody who was brought into this existence and it was your part of your soul's journey to cause chaos, then sure, by all means. But if you sit here looking like, well, I don't know why this happened to me, and this is that and that, well, girl, that's probably because you're doing some shit that you weren't supposed to do in the first place. It's just that simple. It's not hard. It's not hard to figure this stuff out. And so when we talk about, like, when you brought up as far as like washing the doorknobs and washing your mirrors and stuff like that, I mean, that's literally paying respect. Like, even as depressed as I have been, you know, recently over the past, you know, year, over the past 2 years, the thing that always plays in my head when I know my house is a mess and I know my space is a mess is that you don't have to be here. This can be taken at any point in time. So in order to show that you are gracious and you have gratitude for this space, clean the motherfucker up. It's not hard. Like, I don't care how tired you are, I don't care how depressed you are, I don't care how much you got going on. In order for for you to keep going where you are, and for your mental to not deteriorate, show some respect, honor, and praise for the place that you in. Y'all give that kind of reverence for the church. You give that kind of reverence for your parents and your grandparents' house. You get that kind of honor and reverence for your vehicle that you are driving in. But you can't get that for your house, the place where you spend majority of your time. For yourself. Like, how does that work? Like, you can't be surprised when some of the stuff come back onto you. Like, even when you probably did catch a demon by self out here jacking off and jilling off and beating the pussy wide open with yourself, but your house ain't clean because you dirty. Like, yeah, bitch, what was there? You called a demon. When was the last time you changed them sheets? When was the last time you sprayed some Lysol on that mattress? When was the last time you vacuumed that floor? When was the last time you wiped that mirror down? When was the last time you put some Pine-Sol on that kitchen floor, love? When was the last time you put a Clorox wipe on something? When was the last time you took care of your special ancestors that telling you, yes, these motherfuckers are going to come get you because you ain't did what you're supposed to do. You have not renewed and reset the atmosphere. Why do you think they burn candles in the church? Why do you think they burn incense? They clean in the air. They say they clean in the air. You're not coming in that church having a praise break and feeling the Holy Spirit every Sunday. All the shit to give.
Catholic church and not smell. You can't even walk into a Catholic church and not see them with the thing with the smoke going now because they're not sage. They're probably using that good rosemary, that heavy duty cleanse. But baby, you can't. They already know the business.
They know the business, and I know this because my grandmama was Catholic. They went to Holy Names Catholic Church in Memphis. They don't go there no more because my grandmama, she been transitioned. She transitioned about 15, 16 years ago at this point. But even once she did transition, some of my family was still going there. And they ended up with a black priest. And that was probably the one time I was like, okay, maybe I will go to Catholic church and maybe I will go to mass. Because before then, I was like, mass is boring. I can't do this. I'm sorry. This is too much, white people shit. I can't do it. I need the tempo to kick up every now and again. I need a run on an organ. I need something. I need something that's gonna keep me awake, right? But when they got a black priest, I mean, you saw a whole bunch of different African concepts coming out. You saw incense being burned beyond what they normally burn in the Catholic Church. You saw offerings being given to God, but it was done in an African tribal perspective, right? The songs, the way that the choir would sing the songs, like the way that they would sing the music, it wasn't just the hymns like it was in the hymn book. We pulling out some Ricky Dillard. We pulling out some Hezekiah Walker. We pulling out some Karen Clark Sheard type stuff, right? And I even remember one time the spirit was so high in that building because they cleansed and because they went around and prayed the rosary and because they did all of those different things. When I tell you, we almost went Kojic in that church one Sunday, as in like, the person on the organ was literally sitting there playing the Baptist, the Pentecostal runs on the organ. And I was like, he finna make these folks shout in this church. And I'm like, I don't think I've never seen anybody shout in a Catholic mass. That would have been the first and the last time that I've ever seen or heard of that happening. But I'm saying all this to say this, like, they treated that as a sacred space. And they treated that by cleaning it and by giving honor to not only God, the creator, but to the people that the predecessors of their church and the people who were the pillars of their church. Like, you have to give that credence to those people or to those spirits and to those beings, because when you do, you can expect good things to come back unto you. Why y'all think Donald Trump ain't got at the paint? He was his soul's mission was to come and to show y'all what the fuck is really going on in the United States. That man is beyond protected. That's why they can't get him out of office, even if they prayed him out of office, even if they wished him. They could not get that man out of office. They could
even
not.
on the astral realm, they couldn't get him. I was like, y'all not understand.
Like, it's just what that is. Like, but y'all have to understand there's a lot that goes into this. Like, we're not talking about this spiritual stuff or talking about the dead or talking about, your purpose in life just for shits and giggles. No, we're talking about this shit because that's real life. Like, everybody was sitting there talking about, oh, what's my superpowers on December 21st? As I tweeted the day prior to that, you niggas already have your superpowers. If you would go check your birth chart, it will literally tell you in your Jupiter and your Saturn, where both of those things come together, that's where your superpowers lie, love. And even beyond that, the stuff that comes to you naturally, those are your superpowers. But you wouldn't know that until you meditated, until you talked to your ancestors, until you venerated the dead. This shit is not, witchcraft. It's not devil worship by any stretch. Again, I don't believe in the devil, but if you practice devil worship, by all means do that, because that's what's working for you, long as you don't cause harm to somebody else. Because the moment that you try to cause harm to me, if I smell Florida water, I can't help you. Why do you say that, Charles? Because my granddaddy used to wear Florida water. He was divinely guided and protected. He used to wear Florida water as cologne. If I randomly smell that in my house and I haven't poured none, somebody finna get it, and I can't stop that man. I literally cannot stop him once he starts to go do it. I can't stop him. He got a mind of his own. He gonna do what the hell he want to do. He got an energy on his own. He gonna do what the hell he want to do. I can't do nothing. It's above me now. My hands are literally tied. I can't do shit to help you. But that happens because I have a relationship with him. I have a relationship with my grandparents. I have a relationship with those people that came before me, right? And they all helped me. Like, the fact that I got over COVID in 3 days because they were telling me play by play what to do. It wasn't an issue. Like, I was able to get over COVID in 3 days. Like, when my mama called it, I literally told her what to go do, and she was over it in 3 days. I told my little brother what to go do, and he was over it in 3 days.
So, one of my mom's friends, he did not get the text that I sent. I said, I repeat, do not eat anything that has citrus in it. He did not get it. why did this fool have been drinking orange juice and wonder why he was feeling worse? I said, well, first of all, this is a respiratory disease. So anything with sugar in it is going to create phlegm. I
That's
said,
exactly what
and
I
it
was
has
getting
been
ready to say.
and it's been shown citrus for some reason is having a negative effect on it. So if you like, it's different. It's different. Like I was like, if you are in the funk of it, you need to stay away from citrus unless you have been given some type of other remedy that actually works for you, like from an actual homeopathy herbalist. And most homeopathic herbalists, they're trying to stay away from COVID because the government is snatching folks stuff. Like I don't know if y'all peeped, a lot of the spiritual pages have been snatched up, but it's just because I tell people it's shiesty. Is you gonna have people who working for you in the government, you're gonna have the shiesty people in the government. Either or, you just it just is what it is. And but for those of y'all who are listening, y'all like to what Charles said, you have to get it out your system. Like, is this what it is? Those who have other problems, I'm gonna say two things. People who have other problems, comorbidity problems, like other diseases, like chronic asthma is chronic until it magically somehow goes away. Like that's one, but a lot of people get it out of nowhere because environmental stuff, the air. But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But literally, you really need to take care of yourself. When you are in the funk of it, you need to be sweating, coughing it out, all this stuff in it. Then you can go into those old school remedies that got citrus in it. The people who have been dying and they were super healthy. Well, baby, you're dying because you were super healthy and your body has never fought off anything. That's just it's in shock. It's in shock. And so people are like, well, I don't understand how this person that was vegan. They had never exposed themselves to it. These young babies who got all, here's kind of the downside to having so many, I wouldn't say even vaccinations. Like some of these kids have never truly been outside.
Woo!
Some
And
kids
that's the
ain't.
difference between us and them, because you couldn't keep us from going outside back in the day.
Listen,
And
close my
so,
door because you letting the air out type of going in right
exactly.
outside.
And so you either in
And
this house or you
so,
not type thing. Like I got something that I want to say on that when you get through.
but and it's just like the reason why they tell people at a certain age the babies need to be outside, like even like around 3 to 6 months, because they need to get in contact with germs so that they can continue to build up the immunity. That is what we are doing in a sense, except that with COVID, it's changing too much. It has multiple strains, like the flu. That's what, like the common cold. They all cousins. These are things that we cannot predict because it's just Mother Nature. She gonna do what she gonna do. How she gonna do it? I'm trying to you, okay. And so it's just you have to take caution. Like that's why I urge people. People be mad. I be like, listen, you can't keep telling Black people to go into these fields and help improve the medical industry, and then when we tell y'all in a crisis, trust us on this. Now, when we don't say no on certain stuff, okay, but on this, like I was telling Charles, you didn't hear me say nothing about Pfizer. But I've been like, you know what? I might take that Moderna because I know the work that was put behind it, and I know who worked on it behind it. And I know in comparison between Pfizer and Moderna, what's the difference, right? And I know that they have been working on it. The reason why Pfizer got approved first because Pfizer could like produce it like this. Moderna took a little bit more time, right? But like the thing is, at the end of the day, people don't do their research. They don't let their bodies regulate like as normal. These kids are heavily vaccinated, which is good. That's the only way we can travel across the world like we have been. Like you can't go to certain parts of Africa without having a certain shot because your immune system ain't been introduced. So when you get that shot, your immune system is introduced so it can build up those antibodies, right? And so it's just like I've been urging people. I was like, if you got comorbidity or you got an older person, we talking about we past Kwanzaa, right? All this community, this community, that folks went do community. But if you are in your community and you're not protected, you're not doing your ancestral work, so on a spiritual level, you're not protected anyways. Then you're not protected physically. You're not wearing your mask right. You're not washing your hands. You're not wiping your ass. You're not cleaning. And then you're not vaccinated. And then wonder, you like, and wonder why now you sick in a hospital. Being protected is on multiple levels. When we say divinely protected, we're not only talking about spiritual. Like literally, I'd be like, I'm divinely protected, and then go to a shootout, then wonder why you did on the other side with your ancestors. We say we said you were spiritually protected. We say go be a dummy and go in the shootout. Like it's multiple layers to this protection shit, y'all. And so it like even heading to like 2022, don't be a dummy. I just sound harsh, but I'm not just going on a real rant here. But I even when I told people who came to me to do their rituals for 2021, the manifestation candles or whatever, I said, y'all are doing a big ritual for your whole 2021. Wash your ass before you do it. Go get a shower. Make sure your area clean. Why are y'all doing work? Why are you doing prosperity work? And you got old food next to your candle. That's dead.
That wouldn't make sense to do it like that. That's so ugh.
But people are doing this. It's wild.
And that's why I said. That's why I was like, I can't do a lot of work. Like I'll just keep it $150. I was working on my full moon ritual, and part of it, I was like, I know I can't do this right now because I was listening to the read at the same time, and I was like, can't focus on two things at one point in time. It's not how it works. Because then I'm gonna put something that they put on the read on my full moon ritual, and then be looking like, well, wait a minute, when did I say something about that? But in process of doing it, like I literally stopped. I waited till the read went off, and then I still had to wait another, like 15, 20 minutes because my area was still dirty. Like, me, I have an altar in my house. It's in another room. But my living room, my coffee table is also a sacred space. Like I've, made it a sacred space where like it has all of my books there. It has, a lot of my herbs, has a lot of candles, keeps incense. Like I keep stuff on that table, like, and I'm there more than I'm anywhere else. I'm in my living room, like whether I'm doing schoolwork, where I'm getting stuff together for teaching, whatever. Like that's my sacred space. But because I had just eaten dinner after the read went off, I'm like, I can't finish this full moon ritual because my space isn't clear, right? And so, like you even said earlier, like, people stand in their own way in a sense, and they block their own protection. Like even what you said about kids having to go outside, like we literally could not, not being able to go outside was a punishment. Like that was a full punishment when we was growing up. Like
you hear everybody else playing outside, you in the house.
Or if it had just got through raining for the last couple of days and you've been stuck in the house and it's like, yes, I can finally go outside, but you on punishment, man. That was like, I was like, damn, can I take the whooping?
Like, I'm gonna be outside.
Be looking like that meme of DW looking through the fence. Like, I wish I was up shit. Like that's how it was. But like with that's in a sense is what gave us a lot of our immunity. Like, well, some of us can go touch a doorknob and not wash our hands for the 4-5 days, which I hope you don't do that. But you cannot wash your hands for an extended period of time. But because you have that built up immunity, because you take care of yourself, because you pay honor, reverence, and respect to the creator and to nature. When I tell people I'm divinely guided and protected and I don't get sick, I literally mean that because I'm not stupid. I get up every morning and I drink my tea and I take my shot of apple cider vinegar. Excuse me. That one to cough, a COVID cough, that one coronavirus. I'm choking on my spit cough. Talking too fast. But I take my black seed oil, I take my cell salts, I take my turmeric, I take all of my stuff so that way I don't get sick. I limit my, attention to media outlets, whether it be social media, whether it be radio, whether it be music, whether it be TV. Like I limit all of my stuff. I limit because I'm trying to stay protected and in alignment, but I can't do that with all these different distractions and all these other different things that's coming out and coming to get me. It's just not a thing. But then also to the point of what you said about don't be a dummy. I feel like a lot of people, like I know sense ain't common, and I've learned that and recognized that as being an educator. But and I feel like, it ain't even no feel. I know that there's a correlation between this. The thing or the idea of common sense is nothing but your God self and your solar plexus. That gut feeling, that them butterflies in your stomach when some shit don't sit right and it don't feel right. That's your common sense, love. That's your intuition, love. All of those things work. But a lot of y'all don't use it because of what you put in your body. Y'all do realize that you feel all them butterflies in your stomach. You have an energy center called your solar plexus chakra that sits right above it, right? That sits in the area. When you consistently eating bullshit, it's gonna throw all of that off. So going back to what you said earlier about, where people say soul food is bad. Soul food ain't bad. It's just the way that you prepare it. Like you said, people will be more so quick to go fry it, or you want to go put a salt pork in greens, or go put a whole heap of bacon in your greens to the point where the juice of your greens got oil in it. That's the problem, love. Like you're not digesting that. Ain't no nutritional value in it, period. Or y'all will go heavy-handed on the salt in something, or go heavy-handed on the sugar in your desserts. All of that, like Khadijah just said, produces phlegm, produces mucus, produces all of these things, to where Dr. Sebi said this himself. I know y'all don't like to listen to the nigga, even though he been transitioned a while ago at this point. But he literally said that sugar produces, specifically white sugar, produces phlegm in the body. So when you saying, that person got sick from drinking orange juice, I learned this like 2-3 years ago, that my body, I can't drink orange juice, period, because orange juice makes me sleepy because of the amount of sugar in it. Even if it's natural, fresh, pressed, squeezed, simply orange juice will make me go to sleep. I've even juiced my own neighbor oranges, and they have put me to sleep because of the natural amount of sugar in the orange, period. So even when you said, dude, got worse, well, yeah, because there's a lot of sugar in it. Even better, depending on, well, even worse, excuse me, whatever type of orange juice you drink it. If I don't drink simply orange juice, I'm not getting better. I can't drink the store brand orange juice. I can't drink no Minute Maid orange juice. I can't drink none of it. It has to be simply or fresh pressed orange juice in order for it to do something for me. But again, going back to what I said earlier about having that relationship with your ancestors, when I did catch COVID, my ancestors said, you better not go pick up no thing of orange juice. You better not. And I was like, so what the fuck am I gonna drink? They was like, nigga, apple juice, duh. You drink apple cider vinegar every day. Go get you some simply apple juice. It don't have that much amount of sugar in there, and it has, if just about as much, if not more, vitamin C than orange juice does. Duh, nigga, why do you think they keep telling you an apple a day keeps the doctor away? They're not telling you that for their health or rocket science is genius. They telling you that shit for a reason.
It's been right in front of your face your whole life. Your whole life. Y'all act like this is
literally tell you that for a reason. And it's just like,
it's not.
The moral of the story here, because I want us to get to this other piece before we get up out of here for today. The moral of the story here, y'all, is don't be Boo Boo the Fool. Your mama used to always ask you, who do I look like, Boo Boo the Fool? And some of y'all dress up like that nigga, and it's not even Halloween.
Listen, and also I want to say I brought mullein leaf home.
Mullein, that's my love right there.
Mullein. What?
Mullein, mullein. That's bae right there. Woo!
That is so good for lung health. I gotta fix me some because the air's been, my mama been blowing this heat, baby. And that weather been changing so much. I'm glad I did bring it, because now, like, I wait, because I be hot. I got my house be cold when I'm sleeping. My mama's house is hot. So my everything be dry. So I was like, I don't know if it's phlegm or whatever, but baby, I'm glad I brought my leaf with me. Like, and it's and y'all just brew it. It's supposed to be a light tea. Drink it. You don't even really taste none. It's not even really bitter or anything. If you want to put some lemon in it, do it. If you unless you get COVID, don't put no lemon in it. If you need to think
Right.
of it after,
Right.
right? Put some honey, babe. Put some honey. Put some honey.
Put you some honey
Honey.
in there, cut up you some ginger, put some peppermint leaves in there, put some chamomile tea in there, throw you some lavender
Turmeric.
in there. You got plenty of options, but like highly suggest, like anytime I take a break from smoking, that's the very first thing that I go get is some mullein leaves and make tea. And you can smoke mullein too. It does the same thing where it will cleanse out your lungs and when I drink or smoke mullein, I promise you, not even 5 minutes later, I'm hacking up something. Like it works. Trust and believe me. When I say it worked, it
Yes.
works.
And the lady I buy my soaps from, she makes garlic honey. Listen. You know I'm about to stock up once this stimulus check hit. I sure am. I'll be like, go and get me, because she makes tinctures.
Oh, Kurt.
I'm not a root worker, so I don't do all that. I go to the root workers and the herbalists to get my stuff. She got an elderberry tincture. She sent me a yarrow tincture. I put in my teas. I spray in my teas a little bit to add the extra boost, the immune boost. Baby, y'all have to take the precautions. Y'all have to listen to y'all body. Like, that's all I gotta tell you. And remember, your gut health is also connected to your mental health. Remember, the source of our energy comes from our guts. And so, that flows into your brain and its fluids and how it produces the hormones. So I always know that's why people with uterus that still have menstrual cycles. That's why during certain parts of your cycle, your body tells you to eat certain things. Like lately, I have to have spicy food. Like during my menstrual, my body is needing something else that is in the components of spicy food, and it's urging me to eat it. Now I have to find healthy alternatives other than hot sauce and spicy mayo sushi.
Ain't no problem with hot sauce. Don't do that to hot sauce. Hot sauce ain't nothing but
And
piss
hot
and
Cheetos.
peppers. Leave that hot sauce alone.
And I mean, yeah, but then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I have some Lay's and put some hot sauce on it. Or if I find me some hot Funyuns, it's over with. You hear me? I gotta do better. But that's balance, y'all. Also, we're not saying don't eat like good shit. Just saying, you need to eat some
everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Like that's
eat
literally
some brown rice every once in a while versus white. Like it's
on a regular basis. I don't do right rice. No more. But whatever. Anyway, so that's the moral of that story. So real quick before we get out of here, because I definitely want to get back to this though, as far as like your purpose and your path, right? Because you brought it up earlier where you was like looking at your birth chart, looking at your life path number, looking at all these different things, right? So the one question that I do have, first and foremost, and there may be a follow-up afterwards, but I haven't figured that out yet. But how do people figure out what their path is based on those tools that you just named, right? Because a lot of people may have found out, that they have a life path, I don't know, let's say 8, right? That's what mine is. And now that spirituality is starting to go mainstream, which I'm like, yay, but I'm also like, not.
It's a lot of people out here for the money and don't know what they doing.
Yeah.
A lot of us know what we do. We low key, ain't we? We real low key.
I mean, like the lows, like the key that's under the rock at the front door that you didn't even know that was there, like that kind of low key, like low. But how would somebody how would they find out what their purpose is based off using those tools? Because based off our conversation and based off of the reading that we did at the beginning of the season and of the year, clearly you tapped in, clearly I'm tapped in, but what I did versus what you did is gonna always be two separate things, right? So how do people figure out what their purpose is, based off these life path numbers, and then how can they figure out what their spiritual purpose is, I guess?
Okay. So if you guys, we talking about Okay, your life path number, find that out first. It's really your birthday, your full birthday, break down the numbers, add them up, reduce. So my life path number is actually 14. It's a karmic. That means like this life, I'm paying off a lot of karmic debt, which is probably why I've gone through so much in my life already because of my past life. But it reduces down to life path number 5. And for life path number 5, we tend to be the ones more, they say, free spirited. We change a lot. We travel a lot. We change our locations a lot. We also tend to be the weavers because since we have this so much information, we weave things together. And for on a spiritual sense, a lot of life path numbers tend to be strong mediums. I was so annoyed when I found that out. I rolled in my eyes. Because I'm like, everything is pointing back to this. That I'm stuck. I'm stuck with dead people trying to talk to me all the time. And like my mama always say, she be like, don't. My mom be like, don't stir up no shit and go back to LA. Don't stir up no. I be like, I ain't did none this time. Like you stirring up some. I'm like, I ain't do that. But if you're one of those people, you just always gonna attract them. So also, if you get your birth chart, astro.com or alab.com, these are 2 ones I use. Get your birth chart. If you don't know your time of day, try to your parents know the story, right? Or somebody in your family know the story of your birth, or can kind of tell you was born in the afternoons, or whatever. I know it's hard for adopted people to figure out, but still, especially with astro.com, they can still narrow it down to the state at least, or at least to the country, so they can give you the similar, like as close as possible. With the time, you can get your houses, right? The house is really gonna read your ass to fill. But if you don't have the time of birth, it's fine. But first thing you want to look at is first north and south node. Your south node is going to tell you about what you need to kind of ground in, because that's your past life. Those are the lessons that you learned in your past life. And your north node talks about what you need to ground in for your purpose in your future in this life. And so for me, my south node is in Taurus. So that means in my past life, I did a lot of materialistic things, right? And I know this because my karmic life path. So I'm now starting to weave things over. Like, okay, I must did some shysty shit with money and materials and goods in my past life, because my north node is a Scorpio, which is very spiritual based. A Scorpio north node is very spiritual based. You have to be in tune to spirituality in order to be successful and okay in this lifetime with a Scorpio north node. I also realized, like, look at your first house if there's any planets in your first house. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. But where's your Pluto? My Pluto is in my first house. Pluto is about deep transformation. It's about the occult a lot of times. So that's in the baseline of my personality. What Charles said earlier, your Saturn and Jupiter, these are major planets in astrology, no matter what system of astrology, right? Whether it's sidereal, Western, Vedic, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Egyptian astrology, that's a whole nother thing. Like it plays a major part. Saturn is all about karma and balance and life force. Jupiter is about expansion and where you shine, right? So look at where those planets are. What is it under Aquarius? Is it under Leo? Another thing you can also do, look at your midheaven. It says MC. Your midheaven says MC. It is the highest point in your chart. And so for me as well, my Virgo, I have a Virgo midheaven. That means I need to be of service to people. It's no mistake that my mundane job, I call it my mundane job, is in health. It's no mistake. Like, No matter how much I want to dodge that shit, it's this where I'm home. And so you can see your purpose in your birth chart. Your birth chart is your guiding tool. It is not end all be all, because we have environmental factors that impact this. We have other history that impact this. But it is your guidance. Like, use that shit. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Use it. Look it up. Like Charles say, it's so many reputable astrologers out here. They probably not gonna pop up first on Google, but baby, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube will help you find those real astrologers that would break stuff down and you get consultations with, and they'll tell you real quick like what it is, how to do it. And that's how I found out. And once I started to tap in and look into my birth chart and my life path number, I then had my first past life dream. And I found out that makes sense as to why my life is what it is now. And so that's what, sometimes people have dreams. They're like, that felt like more than a dream. That felt like a memory. It probably was. Congratulations.
No, and everything that you just said, first and foremost, thank you for the insight, because I'm over here sitting here piecing together things in my head, and I'm like, okay, so where's my moon in? Where's my Pluto in? I'm sitting because I'm not looking at it on my computer. But I'm sitting there just kind of thinking, and I'm like, even with the north and the south, north node and the south node, we have a same north and south node. And I was like,
most people born in the same years, like the same couple years, we have the same north and south node. So that's why even the 90 millennials babies, we are Pluto and Scorpio babies. So that's why now, since it's majority of us on the internet, that's why there's such a shift towards the occult, because our Plutos are in Scorpio. Like that makes so much sense.
No, and it does. It makes a lot of sense. Like, because even what you just said, like the past life was materialism. Like, I had my Akashic records read, and literally, old girl told me, she was like, nigga, you was rich as fuck back in the day. You just had a problem with the way how money was being used from everybody else. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because when I look at it in the present, it's like, I still, not no more, let me not speak that up myself. I had an issue with a viewpoint with money, because I was like, money is the root of all evil. And it's like, no, money is just a tool. How the way people use money is where the evil comes from.
And that makes why you're such a good money manifester. You remember when I first talked about a manifestation, I was like, how the heck he do all that quick? That makes sense.
Yeah, like so she had me do I was asking her about calendar work and stuff like that, because again, I don't be knowing about half the shit that I be, I just be getting the directive from the spirits, and they like, do it, and I'm like, meanwhile I'm up here like, girl, what the fuck is this? How does this work? They told me to do some shit, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, but when I did it and I told her my results, like, I think this is maybe in September, I think I did this. I don't remember. But when I did it, I mean, like, I did a prosperity ritual, a candle spell with it. And literally 2 days later, I had $5,000 in my bank account. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to complain. Not in the least bit am I going to complain. But in that, like, I was thinking about, like, that versus, well, not versus, that in relation to what you were saying about check where your Pluto is, like, again, Pluto and Scorpio. But then I was also thinking, like, where my midheaven and stuff is, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, mine is in Virgo too, I think. And like that in my life path number again is 8, and like that number 8 is directly tied to Saturn, which is the planet of time, planet of limitations, the planet of, you got to get this shit together, or if you don't get this shit together, guess what, girl? Guess where you're not going for it. Okay. But to have all of that, and then just sitting there thinking, like, every single thing that you said, like, I am a humanitarian in a sense, but I'm very misanthropic. Like, my Jupiter is to give to everybody. It's my Jupiter is in my 12th house now that I think about it. So there's another aspect of spirituality. Is, from what I understand, correct me on this if I'm wrong, Jupiter being expansion and the 12th house being the spiritual, being the esoteric, the occult type things, my expansion is in there. but
Transformations. Yeah.
it's in transformations. And when you take that and couple it with the Saturn in the third house, you know, third house in, ooh, don't give me the line. I want to say it's in Pisces, I think. Pisces also being very, very spiritual. It's being very up in the up in your head, up in the, you know, all of this. It's all of this what we're talking about here. But
And
then
that makes sense if it's in your third house. His third house is ruled by Gemini. Like if you just put in the basics. And if it's in Pisces, that means you're in what you need to be doing. You're speaking on the spiritual. You're community. You have podcasts where you can do that. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Now that you say, which is why I was like, let me ask this, because all of this, like, I've literally been working off of kind of like the back half of 2020. Now that I've hit my, what's the one that everybody say when you turn 23, your world come crashing down? What's that, your 12th house perfection year? Something like that. Or your Saturn. Like literally 2020 was like, so that rug, let me have it real quick. Let me just pull that from under. So after the rug got pulled out from under my feet, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is really going on, right? I've literally been trying to figure out, okay, so what am I really supposed to be doing? Because there's so many different nuances and so many different pieces that come together with this puzzle, right? And so as I'm sitting here trying to figure it out, and as I'm listening to you, I'm like, it makes sense that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm an educator. Like, of course I have a
you
role.
in your field.
I'm in that field, right? To give to other people, right? But then when I also couple it with this life path 8, and I'm like, so my job is to come in here, talk about all this shit, but to also show you bitches where you fucking up and how to also make it better. Because as we know with the number 8 is the number of abundance first and foremost. But literally the number 8 is nothing but the infinity symbol turned vertically. That's it. The energy that you put out is gonna come back in. So whatever limitations that you have, they're gonna go out, and we're gonna come right back to this. Whatever you don't have as a limitation, you send that out, that expansion is gonna come back to you, so that way you can expand more, right? And so as you sit here talking, I'm like, all of this is clicking and making sense, right? And so now when people talk about, you know, well, what are my superpowers and stuff like that, or what is my life path, or what is all these different things, it's like you have all of these different outlets or these different tools to come together to help that make sense. But don't be afraid of it first and foremost, but also don't be upset that this is what it is, because as we remember, going back to what we said at the beginning of this with the movie Soul, you signed a contract. You may not remember it, you may not know it, but you signed a like as she just said here, and we said in our reading at the beginning of January, right? You know, karmic completion was one of the cards that came out. A lot of people are completing a lot of the things that they put in their contract. So now you're getting to the point of, right, now that I've done all this stuff, now I can go and literally complete my mission like it was supposed to be done here. And so now all this whole conversation is going to come back full circle. And so now when you have this idea of death, and you know that death is not an end all be all, but it's just an ending of one thing and transition into another, you're not so afraid of death coming and grabbing your hand at age 27, because you know you did what you were supposed to do. You know, absolutely. Kobe Bryant is the best example. Right. No, Kobe Bryant is dead people. Right. Kobe Bryant is literally the best example I can give you this. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's so sad that he died, and he died so young at 41. Love. He did what he was supposed to do. Yes, it was tragic the way he died. But here's the thing, if you also understand about magic and transmutation, that's why cremation is a lot better than sticking you in a box, because if you were stuck in a box, you're still stuck on the earth realm, whereas cremation allows your spirit to go away and be free. That literally is what happened to Kobe Bryant. Like, he had to go by fire because that's what's going to free him from this earth plane. He literally did what he was supposed to do. There's no reason why this man got drafted at 18 straight out of high school to go straight to the NBA. His job was to be the very best basketball player, to inspire others to do the same, and he literally had done that. He was coming out of the basketball. When he retired, he was going into writing books and movies. Spirit said, that's it. You're doing too much. That's enough. That's enough. That you gotta go. Like, say that for the next time. If you decide to come back, say that for the next time around. But for this one, you good. But I wanted us to have that conversation. I wanted us to talk about all this stuff because it's like, this is stuff that needs to be talked about. This is shit that Black people do, but we just don't remember, or we forgot, or we don't care enough to tap back into it. So I greatly appreciate you sharing that, that information, sharing that information about life paths and stuff like that. Because trust me, y'all, I'm over here still trying to figure this shit out myself. And as she just described, I'm been supposed to be doing all of this stuff. And I'm just like, okay. But again, that Saturn in the third house, it literally says on my birth chart in the description, humanitarian, but very misanthropic. I am so misanthropic. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't like people. I don't be want to talk to people. I don't want to do nothing for people. But I know it's my job to get y'all, to show y'all where y'all are limited in y'all self. So that way you can make this world better, not only for everybody else, but for yourself. And you can strike deuces like the rest of us.
Right. And like for me, my Saturn is in my fourth house. Fourth house is ruled by Cancer, which talks about motherly and ancestral realms, right? So of course my Saturn is right in my fourth house. Like my Pisces moon is in my fourth house. So that makes another reason why it makes sense that I have so much empathy, that I am a medium, that I tap so much into the ancestral realm. That makes so much sense. And with both of those things being in Pisces, Pisces is intuitive. They're the end in no Western astrology, they're the end. So they put everything together and spit it back out. In sidereal, they are the beginning. And that's important, right? And so that's how you have to read it. That's how you have to put things together, because everything in life is just clues and puzzle pieces to your purpose and who you are and what you're supposed to do. That's it.
Well, with that word being said, and most importantly understood, thank you for once again coming back and gracing the airwaves of Introspective Thoughts. Yes. Y'all know I'm gonna put all the stuff where you can find Lady D. Y'all can find where she is, what she got going on. You got anything in the works coming up, for the rest of 2021, or what we doing? What you got coming up for the people to tap into?
2021, if y'all follow me on those social media platforms, y'all will be able to get my personalized astrology candles. Those are candles that are customized. Your scent is everything customized to you based on your birth chart, and just other smell good stuff. If I decide to open back up readings, by the time y'all are watching this, I already did my tarot course, so I don't know if I'm supposed to do another tarot course after this. I'm just trying to follow directions from the ancestors, child. I ain't trying to do too much. But, just follow me on those social medias and you'll see what I be doing.
And y'all know I'm going to put everything that y'all need to know below. It's not on one of these little title bars right here below in the description box. Trust me, y'all, I got y'all. I got y'all. But with that being said, if there's nothing else, y'all be great. Y'all stay warm out here. Y'all stay safe out here. Don't blow all your stimulus money in one spot. Don't blow all your tax money in one spot. Act like you got some sense. Act like you'd have been somewhere, as your mama used to tell you, or some of our mamas used to tell you, act like you'd have been somewhere, right? Because in a minute, y'all been to blew all this money, and then you can't make a payment, and here come the repo man at 3:00 in the morning, pulling off with your new what Jamie Foxx used to call it, your Mercedes.
Okay.
Not a Mercedes, but your Mercedes. Okay. But with that being said, and most importantly understood, y'all be great. Y'all take care of yourself. Don't be a dummy. Moral of the story today, don't be stupid. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do. And until next time, be great. I holla.